It's Nolan.
Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Since a kid, I've been overlooked for my quiet notions. Been a victim of psychosis, no diagnosis. I go to sleep and see fire emojis. I'm all over the track like a death of the railroad. Pull a card and all your favorites get paid like a tarot. Bow to the pharaoh, my apparel is the cloak of gods. How did this world see my talent? It's like it came from Mars. Melodramatic, I bring distortion and static. I bring extortion and rappers might take them horses for cabbage out. I break them all for the narrow mind. I'm aerodynamic, floating over ya. Saying code for Angola, pro black. Hard drip with no cap, I'm Warren Sapp. Running with the paper like Goldman Sachs, my phone is tapped. All this knowledge I'm kicking probably be hurting me. Currently they say stay current to get the currency. I'm sticking around simply for courtesy, for referring me. Learn from Malcolm X, they could pay my homies to murder me. Ooh, I was born to be the world's new challenger, shooting star. He just shooting at stars like Gallagher, 38 caliber, shooting through the center like diameter on camera. I'm the best with iambic pentameter. My stamina will unearth amateurs like an MK uppercut. These niggas get nervous feeling like bubble guts. Used to make pizzas with cheddar cheese and an upper crust. Now I'm giving niggas directions just like a compass does. Pompous little nigga been popping since I was teenage. Looking for a shot, I just picked your name like a sweepstakes. It's scientific, my method to choose the highest bidding. I'm everywhere like a meme, using a common image. Cunning linguists, I'm fighting with the establishment, but still keep a style that's fit for any establishment. Flow valuable like a talisman. I've been channeling legendary approaches for brown people like Tamarin. My niggas got it. I walk the land with a loving goddess. Excommunicate these rappers like I'm with the Amish. Never attended college, tuition should pay me homage. I throw it back to the Panthers, ain't talking Kerry Collins.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. In this particular video, we're going to be talking about Drake and UMG. As y'all know, we've been keeping up with this thing ever since Paperwork Poppy decided to submit his lawsuits. Number one, going at Spotify and UMG. He had filed another one going at UMG and iHeartRadio, accusing these companies of conspiring in a defamation plot, also conspiring in payola and underhanded payments and unjust promotion of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, to disparage his character, to defame him, and to devalue him, therefore causing him damages in the music industry, most considerably his negotiating power with UMG. So he would basically be saying that they're all colluding together to diminish his footprint in the music industry and devalue him all the way to, basically nothing, or just to give him less money than what he feels he deserves. And this is an ongoing battle that will probably continue going well into this year, if not further, if they can't come to some sort of amicable arrangement, right? All those things have already been explored, been put on the table. Y'all know we went through the entire filing. Even before the Super Bowl had come up, Drake was already making reference to the Super Bowl, basically stating that UMG was using all of their resources and power to get him on the Super Bowl stage in order to get on there and perform Not Like Us and do what he felt was going to, disparage him even further on the biggest possible screen. Again, for the same reason previously mentioned. But now they're trying to figure out where to go next. Now, according to Drake and his attorneys, they're claiming that they want to confer, do some sort of hearing, and get the ball rolling into the discovery phase. I find that to be very interesting because all of the court dates that Drake has had up until this point, he's voluntarily postponed them. So instead of allowing UMG the opportunity to file for their own postponements, he's been the one submitting it to the court. So I find it very interesting. Now, in the latest series of filings, Drake does have multiple emails in which his legal team has reached out to UMG to try to get some sort of meeting set in place. It seems that UMG is being a bit avoidant. They're not rushing to get to it. And although we have read a draft or some sort of draft that spoke to UMG wanting to dismiss the case. There is no official filing as of yet from UMG that states, to the judge all of the reasons why they believe that this case should be dismissed, although they do believe so, right? They filed different motions to postpone. They filed different motions that would allow them time. I think they have until next month to actually submit a request for dismissal, but for whatever reason, they have not put it into the actual paper trail in the dockets, right? So Drake and his legal team are getting impatient, so they say, and they want to make sure that this thing moves forward so that they can pressure UMG to either settle with them or go through a trial, which Drake claims he's got numerous instances of evidence that could possibly incriminate UMG into submission. I don't know, but we're just following along. So now let's get into everything that's transpired since our last update. So on February 21st, we have this form here from Sidley Austin LLP. This is written to the judge, and this is the attorney representing UMG. Okay? So they state here, and this is just a few days ago. They say, "Dear Judge Vargas, we represent defendant UMG Recordings in the above captioned manner. We write to request that the initial pretrial conference currently scheduled for April 2nd, 2025 be adjourned pending resolution of UMG's forthcoming motion to dismiss, which is due March 17th, 2025. So they are actually planning to officially file a motion to dismiss at some point by March 17th, right? So they still have about 3.5 weeks to get that paperwork filled in, submitted to the courts. I don't know if they're going to wait till the last day or what their strategy is here, but they still have some time. They say the purpose of the conference would be to set a case schedule, but as will be shown in UMG's motion to dismiss, this case should not proceed because plaintiff fails to state any claims. At a minimum, the conference is premature until the court determines whether and in what form, if at all, the case will move forward. Indeed, the pleadings are currently in flux. Pursuant to separate correspondence, plaintiff has agreed to withdraw certain key allegations in his complaint. Now, that's a very interesting reference being made by UMG's lawyer. They say Drake, the plaintiff, has agreed to withdraw certain key allegations in his complaint, which means that he may even file an amended complaint redacting some of the things that we saw in the last one. That's per UMG's lawyer. We don't know if Drake for sure is going to do that or if that is in his intentions, but that's what they're claiming, that they've had some sort of correspondence with him and he's willing to take some of his allegations out. What those are, I don't know. They say we understand that plaintiff opposes adjournment of the conference because he wants to start discovery. But discovery is premature for the same reasons, and in any event, plaintiff has not yet even delivered Rule 34 document requests, see Federal Code P26D2, authorizing delivery of document requests prior to Rule 26F conference. We thank the court for its time and attention to this matter. Respectfully submitted, Roland Ransom, attorney for UMG Recordings. Okay? So they're saying that Drake and his team have failed to upload document requests in a Rule 34. Therefore, they should not be moving forward with any conference until his, at minimum, paperwork is submitted. And they're saying we also have a forthcoming motion to dismiss this case, period, which is due within the next 2.5 weeks. So we would like to take our time and get that in before we start sitting down for hearings, because we think that this case should be tossed out, which will be a waste of time if we start doing hearings and discovery, if this thing is just going to get tossed. In their eyes, that's what they think, right? So that's just from UMG. Now here, we've got Wilkie Farr and Gallagher LLP. And they're writing the judge to say, nah, we don't agree with what they're talking about. This was filed just yesterday from Drake and his team. They write to the judge. Dear Judge Vargas, pursuant to local rules 7(1)(e) and sections 3(a) and (e) of the court's individual rules and practices in civil cases, Plaintiff Aubrey Drake Graham respectfully writes in opposition to defendant UMG Recordings' request to adjourn the initial pretrial conference, currently scheduled for April 2nd, 2025. So they want to keep this thing set in motion. Okay? Further, plaintiff respectfully moves for an order requiring UMG to comply with Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 26F by participating in a Rule 26F conference by no later than March 5th. So they want to get this thing rolling by next week. Okay? So they want to get this Rule 26F conference in motion, and they want to get the pre-trial conference in motion the following month on April 2nd. UMG's request to adjourn is unsupported by the law or the facts, they say. Indeed, UMG does not cite a single case suggesting, let alone holding, that adjournment is appropriate under these circumstances. The reason for UMG's failure to marshal any supporting authority is straightforward. UMG is attempting to circumvent the rules, as well as the local rules, by obtaining a stay of discovery without actually moving for one. UMG's counsel has disclosed to plaintiff's counsel that UMG intends to file a motion to dismiss and that UMG may well seek an extension of his deadline to make that filing, though UMG has not actually committed to either. In response to multiple requests to schedule a 26F conference, which UMG has refused at each turn, UMG's counsel has ignored the fact that it is fully capable of participating in a 26F conference now because it prefers delay. So they're saying they just playing games. Specifically, in an email sent just minutes before UMG filed its request to adjourn, UMG's counsel explained that UMG believes that it should not have to meet and confer with plaintiff pursuant to Rule 26F until 21 days before the PTC, which is the pretrial conference scheduled for April 2nd. Okay? Notwithstanding that the text of Rule 26F requires the parties to confer as soon as practicable, right? So UMG, they keep putting it off. Drake's team is allegedly reaching out to them, and they do have email correspondence to back up their claim that they've reached out multiple times to try to get this Rule 26F conference going. UMG is not trying to play ball. Okay, and for whatever reason, they're still drafting up their motion to dismiss, which has been in limbo, just waiting for damn near 2 months now. They say the court should decline UMG's transparent attempt to obtain a stay of discovery, which it apparently seeks so it can further ponder its motion to dismiss. UMG has neither moved to dismiss nor moved for a stay of discovery, and its attempt to achieve the latter by delaying the former are inappropriate. So now they get into relevant history. And this is where they start making reference to Kendrick Lamar's performance at Super Bowl halftime later in this relevant history filing, or this piece here. So they say plaintiff first notified UMG regarding his legal claims on July 24th, 2024. So this is July 24th. This is like right after the battle. For real. And counsel conferred a number of times. This is This is after the pop out. All that has already taken place by the time we get to July 24th. At this point, July 4th had came. The Not Like Us music video had been released. Like, quite a few things had happened up until this point. Y'all can't even see the whole damn thing. My bad. All right, we got that all on the screen for you. I ain't even know the shit wasn't all the way there. But so they say that they reached out on July 24th, right? They say by no later than September 16th, 2024, UMG had actual notice that plaintiff intended to sue UMG regarding these claims. On January 15th, 2025, plaintiff filed suit against UMG asserting claims for defamation, harassment in the second degree, and violation of the New York General Business Law 349 and promptly served the complaint. Prior to service, UMG asked to extend its time to respond to the complaint until April 7th, 2025, 82 days after filing and 76 days after service. Plaintiff ultimately consented to UMG seeking an extension of time until March 17th. While discussing UMG's requested extension, plaintiff requested that the parties agree to a complete briefing schedule. Counsel for UMG declined, suggesting it was premature to set further schedule because UMG was contemplating requesting even more time to draft and file its motion to dismiss, notwithstanding its representation that UMG hoped and expected to file a response by March 17th. UMG then filed its motion for an extension without any additional briefing dates, which the court granted. The next day, on January 22nd, 2025, the court entered an order setting a pretrial conference for April 2nd, 2025, and directing counsel to confer with each other prior to the conference regarding settlement and each of the other subjects to be considered at a Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 16 conference, and to file a proposed civil case management plan and scheduling order by March 26, 2025. Now that's interesting. Directing counsel to confer with each other prior to the conference regarding settlement. So that could be on the table. But as we know, UMG plans to set a motion for dismissal. The next day, on January 22nd, 2025, the court entered an order setting a PTC for April 2nd. Oh, we already went through that. My bad. While conferring on plaintiff's request to set a full briefing schedule, UMG suggested that the parties seek to adjourn the pretrial conference until after a decision on a motion to dismiss. Plaintiff's counsel rejected any adjournment, explaining that plaintiff is eager to begin discovery as soon as possible. Plaintiff filed a letter with UMG's consent requesting the court set the response and reply deadlines. The court granted the full briefing schedule. On February 6, 2025. So they're basically saying that UMG is the one stalling, not Drake. That's what they're saying. So on February 6, 2025, plaintiff emailed UMG asking for availability for a 26F conference. UMG's counsel did not provide any reason why it would not be practicable to hold a 26F conference, but instead stated, given that our current deadline for a Rule 26F conference is not until March 12th, we believe this request is premature. So they're saying, hey, you need to give us until the full length of the deadline to figure out what we want to do. UMG continued, we can discuss the timing of a Rule 26F conference closer to that date, assuming the current deadline remains in place at that time. In response, plaintiff reiterated his request, explaining that because Rule 26F is clear that the parties must confer as soon as practicable, the deadline to complete a 26F conference is not at all relevant. So they're saying there's also the piece that says we need to complete this as quickly as possible, meaning at your earliest convenience. UMG is saying the earliest convenience is going to be around the time of the deadline. So they both are trying to intimidate each other and force their will on each other to each of their requests. To that end, plaintiff asked for 30 to 45 minutes to confer. UMG refused to provide any time. So he says, all I need is 30 to 45 minutes with y'all, man. Come on. UMG said, fuck you. Well, yeah, that's what they said in so many words. In summation, that's my opinion. On February 19th, plaintiff asked again to set a meet and confer. UMG again characterized the request as premature, this time explaining that it was filing a request to adjourn the PTC pretrial conference, which it contends triggers the deadline for a 26F conference. UMG filed the request to adjourn minutes later. Here's where they get into why they say the court should deny. The court should deny UMG's request to adjourn because it is an improper attempt to stay discovery without having so moved. Instead, this court should hold the PTC as scheduled and order UMG to comply with the requirements of Rule 26F. It is well established that trial courts have broad authority to oversee and set a discovery schedule as appropriate for each case. And courts in this district routinely deny requests for adjournment. So they're saying this ain't nothing new. Y'all do this all the time. Knock that shit out the air so we can get this in motion. UMG claims that the PTC is premature because the complaint fails to state a claim or because the complaint is in flux, but neither of these arguments justify UMG's requested relief. Putting aside the fact that the complaint does state a claim, the fact that UMG plans to file a motion to dismiss does not justify adjournment. Neither the rules nor the local rules provide for an automatic stay of discovery pending a motion to dismiss. So they're saying just because y'all trying to draft this thing up doesn't mean that we shouldn't be meeting and trying to figure out our plan of action. Now here's where things start making reference to Dot. They say the request to adjourn does not even attempt to satisfy UMG's burden. UMG does not even attempt to argue that the complaint is facially without merit. Of course, I do believe they said that, though, to be fair. The complaint spells out in detail overwhelming facts which, taken as true, establish the elements for each of plaintiff's claims. UMG also makes no argument as to the breadth or burden of discovery. Nor could it, because UMG has refused even to confer with plaintiff on the kind of discovery plaintiff believes is necessary to prove his claims. They're not being cooperative with Drake in any facet. And delaying discovery would unfairly prejudice plaintiff, who is continuing to suffer the consequences of UMG's defamatory campaign. So they say even while they're trying to get this thing figured out, Drake is continuing to be defamed. Indeed. At the same time, UMG has been delaying here. UMG launched new campaigns to further spread the defamatory content, including at the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, which had over 133.5 million viewers. Plaintiff also has concerns that delayed discovery may result in loss of electronic discovery from UMG and or third parties, particularly because it is likely that relevant discovery is contained on communication platforms that are not preserved in the normal course, such as text, social media, and ephemeral messaging applications. I find it very interesting that they're including UMG on Super Bowl and its viewership. I don't think that's a UMG campaign, right? Although Kendrick is technically a UMG artist performing the music in question, I don't think that's a campaign. I don't think they're financing that, but whatever, maybe they are, because the artist does have to pay, right? The artist does have to pay for the production of the show. So we'll see. But y'all know I'm not siding with not like us being a defamatory campaign. Y'all niggas engaged in a rap battle. Y'all both smeared each other's names. You cannot sue on the other side of that, especially when you started smearing a nigga name about being an abuser first. Right? So, no, sir. They say UMG separately claims that the pre-trial conference is premature because the complaint is in flux, but this is misleading and legally irrelevant. In response to a letter from UMG, plaintiff has agreed to address UMG's concerns regarding a single factual allegation that even if plaintiff were to concede everything, UMG has argued about that allegation, which he does not, would result in changes to 5 paragraphs of a complaint spanning 237 paragraphs over 81 pages. UMG does not explain why this correction warrants adjournment, nor does it even claim that an amendment affecting these 5 paragraphs would impact its preparation for the PTC. In all events, UMG's position, which relies on no cited authorities, is plainly wrong, as complaints are often amended after discovery has commenced, including following motions to dismiss. So they're saying we should be able to keep this going. You can file a motion to dismiss even after the discovery phase. We just want to get everything in motion so that we can start submitting what we have to the courts. Drake is, whatever he has, he seems very confident about it because his legal team is trying to compel the judge to force UMG to meet with them legally. Now, I will say the last time Drake was urgent to get in the ring with somebody, that was Kendrick Lamar. Drop, 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 drop. Nah, nigga. You following through. This must be the they have nothing to drop button. So you might want to pick your battles a little bit carefully. You might want to allow them a little bit more time. You might not want, what they say, take your time, young man. Don't you rush to get on. You might want to be careful what you ask for, because when they come swinging with their motion to dismiss, they might have some shit that's going Hadouken your ass up out of the goddamn docket. But who am I to say? I'm just expressing my opinion and thoughts. Let me know what y'all think. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the gist of it. But as y'all can see in this paperwork, they made reference to Kendrick Lamar's 2025 Super Bowl halftime show once again, and says that even as they're trying to get this thing worked out, UMG is still running a defamatory hate campaign against him to make him look bad, which of course him playing Euphoria at the Super Bowl, him playing Not Like Us at the Super Bowl, saying his name at the Super Bowl, I hear you like I'm young at the Super Bowl. I can understand why he'd be angry, but I don't understand why you want to go the paperwork route. You supposed to be a war general. You supposed to be a seasoned vet in rap battles. You was supposed to be the nigga that was down with rap battles with URL and Smack. You get your ass smacked. Now you want to bring some paperwork back. We don't respect that. But of course, let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I will catch y'all on the next one. Much love and respect, y'all. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit on my almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, so straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.